Whew. All right.
Oh, that
Hey everybody, I'm Alice McClellan.
And I'm Mason McClellan.
And we're the Backtrack Brothers. Typically we go back and look at older movies and see how they hold up over time, but today we are going to watch a more recent movie.
It is Nope, directed by Jordan Peele, and I don't know any other people see.
Yeah, Jordan Peele definitely directed. He also wrote it. So if you're familiar, obviously it's the same with Us and Get Out. I think this movie's a little bit different, but still very Jordan Peele in my opinion. Yeah, so let's start off with talking about how you first watched this. Did you get a chance to see this in theaters?
I did, actually.
Ah, okay, nice.
Yeah, I had to force my whole family to see it. Because I saw the Super Bowl commercial originally.
And again, which was great, yeah.
It was like one of those teaser trailers where you really don't know what the movie's about.
Right.
But it gives you that little taste. It was just them looking up being like, oh, Nope. And I think 2 shots of a tornado.
Yeah, exactly.
And then black screen Nope. And I was hooked. I wanted to see it. So then when it came in theaters, we were actually at the beach.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it came out in the summer, right? I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to go see it. My family was like, we're in New Jersey Shore. We're gonna go to the beach and we're gonna find the beach.
Yeah.
But then this movie came out.
Yeah.
And I forced all them to see it, and I had a blast seeing it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to see it in theaters. I waited until I could stream it, but still, absolutely. Well, let me save my thoughts actually to start covering stuff. But yeah, why don't we get started with talking about the visuals for this movie, Mason? Do you have anything that really stuck out to you, positive or negative visually for this movie?
So be a lot of shots of it being at the character's feet and it looking in the sky and seeing this giant thing in the sky, and it makes the character, the main character, seem so small.
Oh yeah,
that's really what's out there.
Yes, I agree. I think they do a good job of giving you scale in relation to the things that you're comparing in this movie. Let's put it that way.
And sometimes they'll do the opposite, where it pans down at the character, and it's just them looking up. And a lot of horror movies will be like, oh well, what's behind the camera? What are they looking at? And
it gives you that first-person perspective from the thing's perspective, whatever it is. I do love in horror movies.
So just minuscule things like that.
Yeah, no, I think it's cool. What did you think of the setting, just kind of being rural ranch world of California?
I liked it a lot, especially, you could see everything.
Yeah.
So I was, it's a horror movie, so going in, you're looking at everything on the screen, and there's a lot, so.
Yeah, I love those. Are one of my favorite types of, and we'll talk a little bit more. Well, I'll say horror for now, but I'll talk into why, I don't think this is 100% horror, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But this is a very effective movie where I'm scanning every inch of the screen to try and not miss something. And anytime you have your viewers that captivated where they feel like they can't even glance away because they feel like they're going to miss something, I think that's a sign of a good film.
I was actually watching this with my girlfriend a few days ago, and every time...
Humble brag.
Every time there's something on screen, flying through the sky or whatever, I'd be like, did you see that? Did you catch that? And I'm look at her and make sure that...
Oh, I bet that was fun to sit next to.
Because it happened a lot. So I was saying it a lot.
I'm sure by the 15th time, she's like, yes, Mason, I saw it. God.
She was.
See, I know. I used to be young and annoying too.
Speaking of set pieces, some of the ways that this open landscape changes, again, not gonna spoil it, but some the later set pieces, especially at night.
There's some weather effects.
And it's spooky, it's scary.
Yeah, and even like you said with the tornadoes, we'll call them for that. I think those actually look pretty realistic and pretty effective, where it could have looked really crappy. Like there is... For example, I think the CGI monkey looks absolutely horrific.
You think so?
I think they purposely made it be obviously CGI so that nobody would complain after the movie because of what happens to the monkey. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because they didn't use CGI horses, they used real horses. But they purposely, I think, chose, now granted...
I mean, how would you really do it with a not CGI monkey?
Well, go with a trained monkey. But I think we saw the downside of that in this film. Maybe not advisable based on what happens in this film, but I'm just saying. That's what they used to do, obviously. You thought the CGI monkey looked good?
I think it was distracting. I didn't really notice it.
Okay.
I don't know.
I think they do a good job where, like, partly when you see it, it's always kind of blurred in some way.
Yeah.
Like, you're seeing through the tablecloth, or, like, you're not seeing all of it. But there are a few shots where you can see it clearly in, like, the broad lights. And to me, it just looks kind of wet and slimy.
I couldn't tell. I mean, I could tell it was fake.
Yeah.
But, you know.
But that's my point. I think granted, they probably did it because they want that monkey to do very specific movements at very specific times. It's easier to do that with CGI. And I don't know, I guess you probably don't want a monkey to fake the stuff he was doing. It might be hard for a monkey to fake that. Now we're gonna slide on into the audio and score section of our review.
Yeah.
Mason, what stuck out to you, positive or negative?
So the main thing positively that stuck out to me were the short little strings.
Yes.
You noticed that?
Oh,
like,
oh, for sure.
Yeah, like when it would be occasionally silent, something spooky happened, and it would be like, rum, rum, rum. It was cool. It was
just enough to send a chill up your spine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and that was one of my notes, is that very similar to A Quiet Place, I think Jordan Peele knows how to effectively use the absence of sound.
Yeah.
Like, you're in this wide open ranch, rural area. I think it's scarier when there's no sound as opposed to when you have some type of music. It just makes you feel like you're actually there, in my opinion. And then when he does choose to use sounds and music, I think it's even that much more effective because it's contrary to the silence you
That's why it's like little sharp, like violin sounds or cello sounds or whatever string instrument.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm not even going to try and act like I know what it is. I am not a musician by any means. But yeah, to your point, I really love not only the little like strings, but the little screams and the faint sounds, which get an explanation later. But early in the movie, you're hearing these like faint screams, like that's the score, and you're thinking that Peele's kind of doing it just to creep you out, but it turns out there's a reason behind it, and we'll talk about that later.
Spoilers.
Spoiler zone.
Spoiler zone.
You don't know the name of the spoiler zone? We're like 50 videos in.
You still mess up the intro video.
All right, listen, that's behind the scenes. They don't need to know that. One other audio effect that I feel like I really need to highlight, because it's probably my favorite audio effect in this movie, and it's what always sticks out in my head, is whenever the entity comes around, electrical devices gradually lose power.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to music or something, it'll be like in the normal pace, and it'll go down to a halt until it turns off. For example, there's one part where Sunglasses at Night is playing, which is an old classic song, like do-do-do-do-do-do-do, great song. And that goes down to like, it almost turns into like an emo dark song when it slows down, and that becomes the soundtrack for a scene, and it's really cool. So that's something I think was just really creative and well done, fitting something that's integral to the plot into the actual audio experience that the viewer has,
Yeah.
Now let's roll into the acting portion of our review, and we're gonna kick things off with a man named Daniel Kaluuya, who plays OJ.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on his performance?
So first, I recognized him from Black Panther.
Yep.
That was like what I recognized him from, and it's cool to see he was in this.
Yep.
He's British.
Yeah.
And he really hit his British accent in this movie.
Yeah.
But
he's
in
great.
doing that, he had a really deep voice in this movie.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where I had to turn up the audio or turn on subtitles, which I really hate.
Yeah.
But I would sometimes couldn't understand what he was saying. I don't know if it's the audio team's fault or his really deep voice or what.
I think it's a combination of a few things. So it goes back to his acting performance. I think he is pretty spot on in being like a farm working. You can obviously see he's soft spoken like really early on when they try and get him to give the security speech, or like the safety speech, sorry. They try and get him to do the safety speech, and he just literally cannot even make eye contact. And his sister comes in, and you see she's obviously the exciting, eccentric, outgoing one. And we'll talk about Keke Palmer later. She's awesome. But I think he does a great job when you're talking about his voice. I feel like that's authentic. Most of like the hardcore, Jesus, hardcore. That sounded weird.
Keke thing about it.
Yeah. Most of the blue collar guys that I know, I feel like kind of talk in that low, muffled manner. So I think it's just kind of him portraying that soft-spoken guy.
Yeah.
I understand from a viewing standpoint, it might get a little frustrating. I wouldn't blame somebody for throwing on subtitles, but it's also one of those things like, you have the contrast of Keke, who does not need subtitles ever. You hear everything she says clearly, as in a positive way. I love her performance.
Yeah.
But I can understand what you're saying, but I think that actually adds to, like, if you watch a lot of like older westerns and stuff, you can barely understand what the hell they're saying. Honestly, but that's part of the performance in my eyes. But once again, I can understand why you don't enjoy it as much. But other than the voice, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll say.
I thought Kiki was the main,
like star of the show.
Yes, the star. Had more emotional bits.
Yeah.
Had more she was energetic, so she had more room to perform.
Yeah. Be more expressive.
And yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, for sure. I think Daniel Kaluuya, what I appreciate about him, and maybe it's something you might notice a little bit more as you get older and watch more movies, I think he's a great eyes and face and body language actor. I think that's why he can get away without having a little mumble mouth when he's talking. It's because you can basically feel what he's saying through his body language and his eyes and everything. Just like, just this whole thing. Yeah. I think that's a perfect example where for him communication is not all about what comes out of his mouth. It's everything else. I think that's you saw that in Get Out, you saw that in other movies he's in. Yeah, so I think he's going to be around for a very long time. He's going to be killing it, and I think he's going to be somebody we're going to have fun watching for the next 20 years. Maybe we'll get him on the show sometime.
There's a lot of steps to that. You gotta be.
Hey, we're almost there. 150 subscribers, man. Maybe if we get like another 5 million, maybe we'll get him on the show.
Yeah.
Kiki, do you love me?
I knew you were gonna sing that.
You knew that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because if you weren't, I was going to.
Well, aren't we just brothers? All right. Anyway.
I'm glad you did, because I didn't want to sing.
Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about your girl Keke Palmer, who plays Emerald Haywood, but I'm going to call her M for the rest of this. Emerald is not. Come on. Sorry if your name's Emerald, but Jesus.
It's like name your kid Diamond.
Yeah, some kind of, Ruby. I don't know. I was actually going to name my dog Ruby, but I would never name a human being Ruby. Okay, so Keke.
Keke. All right, cool. So Keke, we basically explained their whole thing.
Yeah, we did. We talked about it a little bit in the Dan Lewis section,
but she's energetic. She's really funny. Yeah. She's emotional when she needs to be. She's really funny when she needs to be. Yeah, she hits the full spectrum for me. You know what I mean? And you kind of think, I at least thought from her introduction, where she's late to give the presentation, that she's doing her whole side hustle thing. I was like, she's gonna be like the annoying, selfish character in this horror movie. And thankfully, she's not. Like, you can see she really cares about her brother. She even cares about Angel by the end of this movie. Like, you can tell she has a soft side, and I think she does a really good job of showing all of those different layers of her character. Once again, I think she's going to be around for a very long time. I am excited to see her continue throughout her career too. And who knows? I would love to see them together in movies again. I think their brother-sister love-hate dynamic was palpable and I think very believable. What genre would you want to see them together in?
You know what? I kind of like this because when you play in this kind of like horror thriller realm, you can kind of hit different, you can hit some comedy, you can hit some of those touching moments, versus if you're kind of like in a straight action or a straight comedy or a rom-com, you can't hit some of those other areas. So I actually like them in this kind of like realm, you know what I mean? For the reasons I was saying about Dan Kaluuya earlier about how he's such a good eyes, body language actor, I think that translates especially well in horror thriller films where you gotta look scared. You know what I mean? Like, that's a skill, you know? But to Keke, I think she's awesome. I think she's the one that really kind of adds the modern touch to the movie. She's hitting the vape pen, like she's got the more, it's kind of a hipster outfit look going on. But that is what makes me feel like this movie is happening more in modern day, versus without her, I almost feel like this movie could have happened in the 90s or 80s, you know what I mean? So there's a part of me that wonders if like that vape is gonna age poorly, There's a few devices like the electric motorcycle and things that may not age the best. But now I'm getting in a whole different section of the video. I apologize. And really quick, I just want to bring up, I really enjoyed Angel Torres, who's played by Brandon Perea. I really think he was an effective comedic relief character, but they did a good job of making him integral to the plot. They're a couple ranch, they're from a ranch family. It makes sense they're not going to be tech savvy enough to set up a whole security system, do the whole thing. So, and then, the fact that he's a conspiracy guy, like the whole freaking, the History Channel reference, the ancient aliens, oh my God, I love that. I think it's very well done. So, you know, that's Jordan Peele. Just he knows how to fit comedy into this type of movie, but make it non-intrusive. You know. So yeah, did you enjoy his character?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, again, I thought him and Kiki's dynamic were really good.
Yeah, I thought so
too. At the end, when they, you know, got a little bit more of a bond for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. 5 stars, Angel. 5 stars.
5 stars.
Now, everybody, we are entering the spoiler zone. Nice. So this is the part of the video where everything is fair game. We can talk about whatever we want, from the beginning to the end, the twist, anything. So if you have not seen this movie, GTFO, go watch it. Come back, watch the rest of this video, and let us know if you agree or disagree with our views of this film.
Yeah.
Does that sound fair, Mason?
That sounds very
Sounds good. I'm just trying to be fair to our viewers, you know?
Exactly.
I'm not trying to be, you know, some type of czar that's telling people what to do, but I'm just looking out for your best interest, man. So now we're going to go into our plot and writing section, where we can really dive into the plot, writing, twists, everything like that. So Mason, let me, you know, toss it over to you. You want us to get kicked off in our spoiler zone conversation?
Yeah, so I'll just talk about my favorite scene, which is the house.
Let's do it. Oh yeah, you're
like came down the house, they're all inside, and dude, that was so cool. And then later when they woke up, and it's like all foggy.
Yeah.
And I kind of talk about the visuals and like how they changed the set piece. This is what I'm talking about.
Oh, the super heavy fog, I think, is crazy effective.
Yeah.
The rain and how the rain changes based on where the alien is. Like where the alien comes over his car, you can see the wave of the rain stopping coming over his car. So freaking cool. To your point. I agree. I think it's a really cool scene. I think they could have made it scarier.
You think
That's
so?
the only reason it's not. Yeah, I don't know. Blood on windows. I don't know. That doesn't really do it for me.
I thought it was terrifying. I thought it was disturbing. And maybe if there was like, you know, they had the stuff falling from like the sky, maybe more heavier things were falling.
That's one thing
instead
that
of just little keys.
Yeah, but the problem is that it's literally spitting up stuff that was in people's pockets, and like, you know, no one's really gonna have anything heavy enough that can go through the roof of the house.
Except for the horse that went through the car.
Oh yeah, that's true. But I think the alien specifically held on to that.
Yeah.
He was waiting to spit that out until the right time. He or she. I shouldn't genderize this alien.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on
Oh man, if I had to pick a favorite scene, it would be really hard. I actually
Gordy?
You know what? You brought up Gordy. Let me just use this as a springboard to talk about the main thing that I want to talk about with this movie.
Yes.
I saw a lot of discourse around this movie where people are like, what does this even mean? What is the monkey involved? Like, why does this even matter? Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, obviously, you know, it's tied to the, you know, the farm owner, the ranch owner that's doing the shows. Obviously, he was the kid character that was in that show. But I just want to kind of talk about just the general theme and messaging of this movie. Because I think a lot of people have kind of missed it, and maybe I'm wrong. I didn't get a chance to talk to Jordan Peele personally and ask him this, but I just taking from context clues and based on, you know, especially the opening quote that is shown in this film. The opening quote from this movie that's shown, and I actually forgot about it at the end of the time that I watched it, but watching it for the second time, I got reminded of it, and it just really reaffirmed what I originally thought this whole movie messaging is about. So here's what the quote is. I will cast abominable filth upon you, make you vile, and make you a spectacle. It's from the Book of Nahum, which is a more kind of like obscure book that was from the Old Testament. So this is an old religious text, right? And I did a little research, looked up some Christian websites. We do not have much of a religious background, so I wanted to be knowledgeable when I was talking about this. So I went and did some research. It turns out that ultimately, the Book of Nahum shows us that the path of idolatry and exploitation only leads toward death and destruction.
Yes.
Does that hit the fucking nail on the head of what of this
It's
movie?
exploiting animals.
And not only animals, but any performer.
Yeah.
The alien being one, right? So, to your point, in each of these examples, the subject, whether it's the monkey, the alien, the horse.
Yeah, the horse in the beginning with the light.
In the beginning, all these situations, I'll also point out O.J. Simpson also could have been an example. I don't think O.J.'s named O.J. for a coincidence. I'm serious. Like, those are 4 examples where people poke and prod this subject, and then the subject reacts in a way that the exploiters don't want, and the exploiters shut them down. on and label them as, crazy or a monster or whatever. I think that's Jordan Peele's whole point. And you see it throughout the whole freaking thing. And even like not looking it in the eyes. Because staring at an animal in the eyes is a sign of aggression, typically.
Yeah.
So that's the whole concept. So I just think a lot of people miss that. And so if people were confused after watching this movie, I get it, man. Like, this is a deep, heavy movie.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I think this is part of why I love it.
But it doesn't mean that there's nothing in the movie. It's probably just that you haven't seen it yet, or haven't seen what was in the movie yet.
Yeah, and you see what's on the surface, but maybe you didn't understand the tones and the underlying. And like, if you don't look up this quote and understand where it's coming from, maybe that just seems like senseless gibberish, and you probably forgot about it within the first 15 minutes of the movie. Like my wife, the first time she watched this, she was so confused with the opening of the monkey because she was like, "Did we pick the wrong movie? Did you accidentally pick George in the Jungle?" And no, it's just it's an interesting film. But I think there's purpose. Jordan Peele doesn't just arbitrarily throw shit in his script.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's purpose behind this, and I think people need to, just because you don't understand it, maybe that means you should take time to do a little bit of research and self-introspection and think about what this movie is. When I first watched this movie, I thought about it for days, trying to piece together everything. The shoe that's standing.
The shoe, I actually, can I explain it to them?
Yeah, go for it.
Like, the only reason, talking about the shoe scene and Gordy, the only reason that kid didn't, die to the monkey is because he was focused on that shoe standing up and not the actual monkey, because everyone was running from the monkey, staring at it, trying to, do something about Gordy. This kid, you can see the camera's panned on that shoe that's standing up. And because the camera's focused, or at least from what I think, because that camera's focused on his shoe, I think that's what that kid's looking at, and that's why that monkey doesn't come after him.
Interesting.
It's because he's not looking at the monkey, he's not doing anything with him, he's just...
Mind if I throw a wrench in his theory?
Yeah.
He makes direct eye contact and does the fist bump, and the monkey's like chill the whole time.
Yeah, but that's later though.
Yeah,
but
right.
That's later though.
It's not that much later. He literally just killed a guy 30 seconds earlier. Literally just killed a guy. So what my theory, so I'm not saying you're wrong, but that's the only evidence I would have where I would say, I'm not 100% on board with that. What I think the shoe is, it's the symbol of beauty that can be attained amidst horror. The whole reason that this instigation is happening is because you're trying to get the Oprah shot. You're trying to get that beautiful miracle, which they end up getting at the end, right? You're trying to get that impossible shot.
Yeah. That
shoe falling like that is impossible. Is essentially impossible.
Yeah.
And I think it was a symbol. Once again, I could be wrong, but I think that shoe was a symbol of the type of beauty or something spectacular that can happen out of all of this horror. So all this crazy stuff happened with this monkey, but look at this miracle, this crazy thing that happened in the middle of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I also feel like it's weird that he kept that shoe. I feel like I would burn the fuck out of that shoe. That's a haunted shoe.
It is. I wouldn't go near that shoe. Only bad things happen where that shoe goes.
I'll tell you what. So I actually forgot to mention in the audio score portion, the audio of the monkey scene, where they don't actually show you what he's doing to people, but the sound is so specific that you know what's happening. It's crazy. You're like, oh, he's eating that.
Imagine in a theater.
Yeah.
Dude. It's only on the side, in theater with surround speakers. It's only on the side where the chewing is coming from. So it's only in your left ear.
Yeah. So let's just get to it, right?
Yeah.
The ending. How do you feel? I think it's sad.
I think it is sad.
Yeah, because when you think about it in this context, the alien, remember the alien, it just shows up at some point. We don't really know when. Yeah. But the reason it's staying there is because it's getting fed by the ranchers feeding it every Friday. So it's literally being trained and taunted and kept there.
And by the end, if you let's put the alien in the perspective of an orca. Right? I'm watching an orca, I like orcas.
Yeah,
so they're this orca is doing stuff to them that's affecting them, and they want to get the shot, a picture of the orca, and they're doing everything. They're they eventually kill it at the end just to get the shot of it. And this animal basically has just been doing what he's instinctively been doing. He's not trying to hurt anybody. He's just, you know.
He feels threatened and he's attacked, which basically you look at it directly, it feels threatened, so it attacks, and then it also wants to eat every once in a while. Yeah. So it gets fed a horse and it's trained to be in this area.
Yeah, and then all that happens to it is it just dies and they get and people trying to get film of it. And
yeah, and I'll tell you what, dude, especially like the TMZ paparazzi, like he's the perfect epitome. Or the director, oh my God, yeah. I love that director. Holy shit, great character actor. Man, more! Like, that is just unreal. That was definitely the most overacting moment of the film, but well worth it. Well worth it.
He's just standing there with his cheeks peeling back.
Yeah, but it's the perfect epitome of they already got the shot.
Yeah.
Like, but he's like, I gotta get one more. I'm gonna fuck with this animal one more time because I just want to get a little bit better shot. It's all symbolic. It all makes sense if you understand what's going on behind you. Sorry, I'm like getting really amped up about it. It's just I see all these online debates and people are just oblivious.
I had her mom doing research after she she was looking up articles and stuff. She's like, what is about animal cruelty?
It is, and that's where like people, you know, not just animals but people. Like,
and people instead of doing research, just tweet like,
exactly.
This movie sucks.
This movie's stupid. What's a stupid monkey? Makes no sense.
In one Google search, you'll find the answer.
Exactly. It's purposeful that the alien reveals this beautiful form at the end. You know what I mean? I think if it stayed as a shuttle, I wouldn't have felt as connected to it. But it comes
this
out.
whole thing. Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's got like this big ribbon and like the mouth's like that green. Like I don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah.
It's really, first off, that CGI looked amazing, and that's what makes me think you could have done better with the monkey. That's just my point. That's why I think it's purposeful and it doesn't look that great because I saw what they did with the alien and it looks awesome. Like when it eats the big bubble boy
and like wraps it around.
Dude, that is freaking cool.
Yeah.
And then when it pops, that's so sad. I'm like, no, alien, no. No. Did you not feel that way? Did you feel different?
I was mixed because, like, you know, after watching it the second time, I definitely felt that way.
Yeah.
At the start, you know, obviously the movies you know, these are the main characters you've been following and finally achieved their goal. But then you kind of look into it and you're like, this alien was just kind of tortured.
Yeah, so, exactly. To the point it was killed.
Yeah.
Who knows? That could be the only one of its species in the galaxy, and they just blew it up because it ate some of their horses and shit. Just saying.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to make money. Like, it was the whole... well, obviously, Kiki at the end, she wanted to get revenge because she thought it killed her.
Yeah, and I mean, her dad, he wanted to get...
they killed her dad, too. But no, but really, like, early, it was just all about getting the picture, getting the footage. And then once Kaluuya dies, it's like, oh, shit's going down. I'm going to release the big boy. That alien's dumb as fuck, isn't it?
Don't try to be smart.
It had, well, my thing is it had the flags on the bottom. So I thought the whole thing was it's trained to avoid flags. And it had a bunch of flags. I would think it'd see the flags and avoid it, but it didn't. It just fucking deep-throated that shit.
I guess because it was looking at it. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's supposed to be the whole idea, is that is the big eyes, just like I would suck up the wacky armed inflatable tube men.
Yeah.
I love that they have those. That's actually one thing I was thinking might not age well. Like, if those aren't around in 20 years from now, people are like, what the hell are those?
Yeah, they're definitely not gonna be around.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
I think they'll be around in 5 years.
I don't know, dude. They've been around for a while.
What's their purpose?
To draw attention. Like out front of like car parking, like not parking lots, but car dealerships and stuff, they'll use them to get your attention because they like wail around it and they're all colorful and stuff. It works, man. It does. And they're actually a very smart tool to use in this movie, and it's just a fun little visual.
Yeah.
That's a Jordan Peele touch right there. You could have gotten any electrical device to signify when power's going down, but he chooses the wacky arm inflatable tube men. That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
And again, it's a Jordan Peele movie.
Yes.
So there's gonna be humor involved, and I think they did a great job. Even just the subtle things, like again going back to this whole house theme.
Yeah.
When his windshield gets crashed by the horse,
dude, that's
and he just taps the lock on his door.
This is probably one of the better movies that uses the movie title where it just nope. It does that twice.
Nope.
Yeah, and then the other one was the aliens, where it's little kids posing as aliens. Dude, let's just talk about this real quick.
Okay, yeah.
I almost like peed my pants the first time I was watching this movie during that scene. Because I did not expect that at all. Because I figured, I was like, okay, it's a spaceship thing, I get it. But then those little aliens come in and you couldn't see them very well. Like, it's like that's my nightmare, dude. Like, that is literally, if I'm just like at the end of a long hallway, and there's just like a little shadow figure coming towards me. Like, I wouldn't take my camera out and record. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'd be swinging like he does on that one kid.
Yeah, I was like,
that's the downside, dude. That dude sent his kids over to do that. How do you know that guy's not gonna have a gun?
Yeah, exactly.
Most kids are lucky they didn't get shot.
Yeah.
I think in a more realistic scenario, if you are on a ranch with that much open space around you, you're walking around with a gun.
Yeah.
And if you see aliens, camera in one hand, pistol in the other.
You guys just shot a kid and you're like, oh god.
Yeah, dude, that could have like the punch was the best thing that could have happened out of that whole situation, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was really scary when first watching it, but then like afterwards, I mean, I just find scares like that kind of pointless.
Oh yeah. Well, now the second time watching it wasn't nearly as effective because you know what's going on, and I do like that this movie doesn't resort on jump scares. Like obviously Jordan Peele has never really relied on that in any of his movies, and I'm glad to see that didn't change.
That's what I discussed when I had to try and convince my girlfriend Lauren to watch this.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not a horror movie. It's not a horror movie.
It's not.
Like,
Oh, perfect. Thank you for bringing this up.
Cool.
Because we've been meaning to talk about this.
Yeah.
So I firmly believe that this should be in the sci-fi thriller category. I do not understand why this has a horror.
I mean, what horror elements does this have? Like,
bloody
no jump
windows.
scare. I guess this is really as far as it goes, right?
Yeah.
And that one alien scene, but other than that, there's like no real like.
Yeah, to your point, there's no blood and gore.
Yeah.
There's none of that.
No like
It's
jump
straight from me.
scares.
Right.
It's not like the classic thing where there's like some guy walking through the house trying to like whatever. It's it seems more like a sci-fi thriller.
Yeah, it's rated R probably more so for language than anything else. And it's not even one of those movies that's so scary that you can't let a teenager see.
Yeah.
Like I mean, obviously. It's it's an effective movie. It's creepy. That's how I describe it. It's creepy. It's unnerving, but it's not. It's not Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like it's not a slasher.
It's not Friday the 13th. No.
Yeah, it's not.
Way different how it scares you and disturbs you.
Correct. It's not a Conjuring. It's nothing like that. Yeah. It just feels so different, especially when it's so. And even you have a lot of action adventure elements. Like when they're getting that run they do to get the shot, they're playing action adventure music. It sounds like an Indiana Jones movie. There's a lot of sections like that, and then you have the comedy tones. It's just, I think it's very miscategorized, and the negative of that is that people are going, especially because Us and Get Out were more horror films than this, I believe. So they went in, I think a lot of people went in expecting one thing and got something else. And I think that's part of the negative.
They got something else,
Right, they got a deep, introspective sci-fi thriller instead of a horror movie with aliens like dissecting people and jumping out of the shadows. So I can understand a little bit of the backlash to it, but if you go into it with an open mind, which is how I advocate everyone go into every movie, you probably enjoyed it. I think it's a great film.
Yeah, and this is my first Jordan Peele movie.
Oh, okay.
After this, I watched Get Out, and I like it a little bit less than this movie.
Okay.
But I still like it. Us, I haven't seen yet, but I think that'll probably be at the bottom of the three.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, going in again, I had a completely open mind.
Thank you.
All I had was his comedy sketches, which again had nothing to do with this movie besides some of the humor. But
that's crazy. So you didn't see Get Out or Us before seeing this movie. So you didn't have that I shouldn't say taint, but you didn't have that impression, that predisposition going into it of okay, this is what a Jordan Peele movie is. You went in. So that's cool. Honestly, like I kind of said, going in without you went in with that mindset. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I like that you saw Get Out and enjoyed that too. That was once again I don't really understand why people were surprised this was a deep movie. I think Get Out's pretty deep.
Yeah, Get Out's also like a thriller, kind of psychological.
Oh, definitely psychological. Oh my God. I think maybe we could, I'm excited for Peele to keep putting out movies because he's more, he's definitely a modern day director that I really enjoy, who's actually more in the beginning phases of his career as opposed to,
only
someone like
movies.
Tarantino.
It's not like
right, exactly. He's still, as opposed to someone like Tarantino or some of these other guys that are towards the end of their career and putting out kind of like their swan songs. Peele's putting out like his best work right now. And I shouldn't even say that. I think he's gonna get better. You know, I think the more license he has to do stuff like this, you know, I think he's only going to improve.
Yeah.
Now, Mason, we're going to roll into odds and ends. This is where we just kind of toss out just little things we noticed, or, you know, just little things that don't really fit anywhere else in our structure.
Got it.
So let's get us kicked off, Mason. What you got?
Cool. So I'm a little bit confused about how the alien, like, sucks things in.
Yeah.
And, well, my first gripe with that...
Sucks to its hole.
First gripe with that is when all those people are in that like ceremony and they all get sucked up.
Yeah, which is so cool. I think that's my favorite scene. I think my favorite scene is when they're getting sucked up through and going through the digestive tract. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Sorry, what's your question?
So my question is, how does he like? Because sometimes even when they're next to the little like floppy man thing.
Yeah, the wacky arm inflatable tube.
Like he doesn't suck those things up, but he sucks up the people. And sometimes in that ceremony, he'll suck up all the people. But how is like the whole thing not coming apart? Like what's like how much can he?
Oh, okay. So you're basically asking like what's the amount of force that he's using to suck things up?
Yeah, because based on like what he's doing, he was able to get the guy to, he was inside and he was able to lift him up and he hit the ceiling.
Yeah.
Like how did he not like suck up the ceiling or some of the wood or any of that?
So I think there are some inconsistencies in how strong the force is of the sucking power of this alien, for sure. Because we see there's even the part where Kiki runs into the house and all of a sudden the alien can just go into the house, where we've never seen that before.
Yeah.
Every time we've seen it before, it can't break through wood. So maybe it's got like a super suck mode, like a vacuum. It just turned it on when it was going after Kiki. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe after it sucked up so many things, so many people and stuff, and then it tried to suck. Yeah, maybe it doesn't have as much sucking power because there's already so much shit in it.
We're talking about a lot about sucking.
Yeah, I mean, I might. Yeah,
sucking expert.
I know some stuff. You ask questions, I have answers. What did you think about the Tarantino-esque chapter separation of the movie, where you had the different, like each horse's name kind of like had a different section?
I thought the horse thing was clever.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty neat.
Yeah, I'm just like super into organization, so anytime you can give me like chapters or cards or some time of like way where I can organize things, I'm all for it. I get so excited.
The thing about this movie for me is that it doesn't jump around time, so I think the chapters matter.
Yeah,
you kind of remove them and it wouldn't change anything.
No, I agree. But I think what it does do, I think probably the best moment for it is, you realize early on, after the first, card or two, that it's based on the horse names. And then you get to the last one and it's Jean Jacket.
That's what they named them.
And then you're like, okay, cool. Like they're going for the alien now. I thought that was a cool, effective way to do it. And it's not overdone. I think it only happens like 3 or 4 times in the movie.
Yeah.
And just being somebody who enjoys, Tarantino's work, we've seen him do that a lot.
Yeah.
If it's something, if I made a movie, I probably would do it, just being very frank with you. Just stealing that, thank you. There was a lot of horses in this movie, a lot of just like horse action, just obviously, there's a lot of, both the alien eats horses, and obviously Chloe and Kiki's farm is all about like taming and raising horses. It's just a personal tie for me. My wife works with horses. I learned how to ride on a very elementary level so I could propose to my wife. So I just have a love for horses that has grown over the last 6 years. So it's really cool now watching movies and seeing horses in them.
Was it cool to see them get abused and die?
No, I'm not in terms of that angle, but you can appreciate their performances a little bit more, and you can see, now I can watch somebody riding a horse and you can tell the people who are like the stunt people who actually know how to ride versus it's just a star of the movie. They plopped up there and he's just...
No wonder he put hard on whenever he drives.
And in case you don't notice, I don't know how much time Chloe actually spent on a horse, because I'm pretty sure every time you see him riding, it's from the back. So, yeah. You might want to look out for that next time you watch it. Yeah, so, but no, it's actually one thing I thought about. You joke about it, but I was actually thinking, I bet you the animals on the set were treated like royalty. You're literally making a movie about abusing animals. That's the heart of it. I bet they took care of the animals on the set. You can even see with how they shot each of the things, like they didn't actually hold the mirror in front of that horse's face. They do a camera angle where you don't even see the horse. So, they set it up with quick cuts to make it like it's happening, but you can even see they were smart in how they did all of that stuff. Even how the horse kicked, we watched it a couple times, and you can see there's like a clearly set, if you like pause it, you can see there's a clearly set up target for the horse to hit, and they don't actually startle it to cause it to kick. That horse is trained based on a visual cue or an audio cue to do that kick. So it's not like any animals are actually distressed when they're doing scenes like that.
Yeah.
But those are the types of things I didn't know and wasn't exposed to until you wander into that crazy horse world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole different world, man. If you don't know, you don't know. And you know.
That's what his wife is a horse girl, so that.
Yes, exactly. Don't make the same mistake I did. And my final odds and ends I have to toss out there, because this is something that you and I agree so much on. I always feel like I have to highlight it because I want viewers to advocate for this, right? Title card doesn't come until like 5 or 10 minutes in, and the opening credits are fast. They fly through those names. Perfect. Thank you, Jordan Peele. Stop wasting people's time with opening credits.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, dude. There's so many movies like that where you're like sitting.
The Shining.
You know what? The Shining is a little different because it has the ominous music and like the mountains. I think it kind of sets the tone well. But it is long. Don't get me wrong. It definitely could be shorter. But you know, I hate the ones where it's just a black screen with white text and you're sitting through that for 3 minutes. You're like, there's so much. You can be doing so many better things with this time.
Again, going back to Spider-Man, where's a poorly rendered 3D city with the cards?
It is a perfect example. We go off on that in the Spider-Man video we did previously. Check that out. And that's, you know, that might be the first time we brought up this subject. To me, once again, if I made a movie, no opening credits. Screw it. If you want to find out who acted in this movie, wait till the end and watch the ending credits. You know, that's you know, hot take by me. So now we are at our conclusion of our movie review for Nope. Mason, how about you let us know what your concluding statement and final numerical score for this movie is out of 10?
Yeah, so for the numerical score, you know, I put this in my top 10 movies of all time, and I think it's in the...
That he's seen.
That I've seen.
Just gotta put that out there.
And I think it's in my top scariest movies list.
Yeah, even though it's not a horror movie.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a horror. Anyway, we already talked about that. It doesn't have to be a horror movie to be scary.
Okay,
but
can of worms.
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10, nice. I like it.
I really enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
Again, opened me into Jordan Peele. Started watching his comedy sketches a lot more. Watched Get Out.
Yeah.
Yeah, just been a huge fan.
It's funny you watch this movie and you're like, I gotta go watch Key and Peele.
I mean, really, like that's what it's like.
Well, I exposed you to Key and Peele, I think, a little bit when I was talking, when I sent you the Batmans. Yeah, the whole Batmans video. That was great. But yeah, no, it's, I'm glad you found him because he's awesome. I've been watching Jordan Peele since Mad TV when he was on there. And from what I've heard and read, he did not enjoy his time on Mad TV especially well. But I remember seeing him on there and thought, dude, this guy's hilarious. He's going to be something. So I'm so happy to see what he's done with his career.
Definitely.
And see what he continues to do.
And then Keenan Allen Key is the voice of Toad in the new Mario movie. So, 2 sides.
He's having a fine career. Don't talk shit. Keegan-Michael Key's a great man. He was also on Mad TV. That's how they met. I don't know if you know that. Hold on. Now you bring him up. This has nothing to do with Nope. I don't care. The Coach, go on YouTube. You're already on YouTube. I know you are. Go up in the search bar. Look up Coach Hines Mad TV. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Have fun. Yeah. Anyway, 9 out of 10. And go see a new Mario movie to see Keegan-Michael Key and support his failing career.
He's not failing at all.
I know.
Oh God, I'm gonna clip this video. I'm gonna send it to him on Twitter and just be like, my brother thinks you're failing. Hope he pulls a Coach Hines on you. Anyway, I don't care if you don't get the reference. I don't care if you don't get the reference. Someone out there will. So for my conclusion, you know, actually, I'm gonna be honest. We have the same exact numerical score. So I don't know if you cheated and looked at my stuff ahead of time, or if we're just. Yeah, that's what happened. So I think this is a really effective sci-fi thriller movie, as long as you accept that that's what it is and don't go into it with the wrong idea. It has great comedy, great acting performances. The only reason I would knock off a point, especially after watching it a second time within 3 months, I would say, I don't know how much I would go back and rewatch this now, because I think I've kind of dug through most of the messaging and everything, and I think the next time I'm going to watch this is showing it to someone who hasn't seen it before, that maybe has seen like Get Out.
Exactly what I watched it twice, and then I watched it with large.
Exactly. And so it's not one of those movies that I think you can just plug on at any time and love it. So I think it's something I kind of be in the mood for, or watch it specifically with somebody else who wants to watch it.
Yeah.
So that's why I think shades it down a little bit. But I mean, really, I think it's a great movie. I would suggest it really for anyone who likes sci-fi thrillers or even a light horror genre. Just don't go into it expecting the wrong thing. It's not, you know, Annabelle. It's not Conjuring. It's not a slasher. It's none of that. So yeah, really effective. 9 out of 10. Go check it out if you haven't already. If you have seen it, comment. Let us know what you think. If you agree with our thoughts, or maybe you disagree. Maybe you think this movie is meaningless and you're a doo-doo head.
Yeah, doo-doo heads. Let us know your numerical score. Like and subscribe. Ring the bell. Yeah, do you like that?
Ring. Thanks for checking out this video.
Like and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about the movie in the comments below.
Let us know if there's any movies you want us to watch. Who knows? Maybe we'll watch them together.